Welcome back. You've heard of groups like the Moral Majority and the Christian Coalition, two Christian groups that generally embrace a conservative view on politics. But my next guest is challenging not just the view from the right, but the left as well. Jonathan Merritt is the author of A Faith of Our Own, and he's joining me now for this morning's Faces of Faith segment. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So you write about culture wars, political power, and religion, and this new generation of evangelicals. What has influenced the shift in attitude to create this new generation?
Yeah, I think it's probably two things. First of all, they've seen the way that the last 30 years of Christian political engagement has influenced public perceptions about Christianity. Young adults today see Christians as judgmental, hypocritical, anti-intellectual, anti-gay, and they don't see themselves that way. So they want to present themselves in a way that's accurate. And I think the second thing, which is probably the most important, is that the religious right strategy has been shown largely to be a failure. 30 years ago, the religious right formed in the public square to make abortion illegal and turn back the tide of same-sex marriage and to reduce the size of government and all of those. We're still having those debates today. In some ways, we've spent millions and millions of dollars and man-hours as a movement in order to affect very little change in the public square.
Has this been a slow shift, would you say, or pretty rapid?
I think it's been a slow shift because you're having a generation now that's coming of age, and I would say you've seen it really mature in probably the last 10 or 15 years or so. I would say probably in the 21st century you've seen this generation really rise up.
Religion and politics in the U.S. go hand in hand. We've seen quite a bit of it, certainly in this year's primaries. What is your solution, then, for separating them?
Yeah, well, my solution is to let this generation be who they want to be, because I love the shifts that are happening. There are really three shifts that are going on among this generation. They are shifting from being partisan to being largely independent. I was at a gathering of young evangelicals at the Q Conference in Washington, D.C. recently. 61% of those participants said they don't affiliate with the left or the right. I think there's a shift from divisive rhetoric to civil dialogue. So we want to be able to have conversations with those that we disagree with, to work on common ground agendas. And then there's a shift from a narrow agenda to a broader agenda. In the last 20 or 30 years, the conservative Christian movement was almost exclusively focused on one or two issues: abortion, gay marriage, maybe religious liberty thrown in for good measure. But now you have a generation of Christians who are concerned about waging peace, about caring for the environment, protecting the poor, advocating for the immigrant, and yes, even caring for those who are not yet born.
You also talk about embracing, this broader agenda of Christianity instead of focusing on just a few issues. Where have you witnessed this in your own life? I'm curious.
Well, I'll tell you, I became a environmentalist at a Southern Baptist seminary. So I have a really unique journey. But, I've worked with the largest adoption agency in the U.S. I've gone overseas to serve on mission trips, and I've seen the needs in this world that Christians have largely been silent on in America in the last 20 or 30 years. And so there's a discrepancy, I think, between the issues that would invigorate Jesus if he were still alive here on planet Earth right now, and the issues that we find Christians almost completely obsessed with.
I'm glad you brought Jesus up, because I'm curious what you would say. I mean, if Jesus was a member of a political party, do you just work with me here? Do you think he would be Democrat, Independent, Republican?
Yeah. You're not the first person that's asked that, and the easy answer is I don't know. I don't know what party. My gut tells me Jesus would probably eschew affiliating with either party. I think Jesus would be the ultimate values voter. In other words, he would advocate for the things that are right, regardless of whether the liberals or the conservatives, Republicans or Democrats claim the moral high ground on those issues. And I think that's a lesson for us as followers of Jesus Christ, that we would do the same, that we wouldn't be the handmaiden of the Republican Party, for example, as many conservative Christians have been over the last 20 years.
So do you have a blanket message, say, for the candidates who are looking to get into the White House again?
Yeah, well, I would say this: the American evangelical community can no longer be treated as a monolithic voting bloc. And so to pander to us, see, Christians are something of a cheap date in America, really, when you think about it. They come to us, they pander to us as a community, just like they would a teachers union or senior citizens, and then they spend 4 years apologizing to us for why they didn't keep any of their promises. So it's time that we quit allowing ourselves to be treated like this, to be reduced to a voting bloc, and instead vote our morals, vote our convictions, but do it in a way that is nonpartisan, that's not divisive.
Jonathan, we'd love to have you back to discuss more about this as we get closer to the election as well. So
Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Sunday. For more stories on faith, be sure to check out our widely popular belief blog at cnn.com/belief.